Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Plague Inc. Evolved official scenarios. Last time we did the artificial organs, managed to get 3 biohazards on that, which was pretty fun. What's not so fun is moving down to the frozen virus, which is actually a really cool scenario, but in order to beat it on Mega Brutal, let alone get 3 stars, I am finding that it takes an immense amount of luck, and I have frustrated myself with a lot of failed attempts, so here's hoping things go a little bit better today. A giant virus, frozen deep in the Siberian permafrost, has thawed and infected an unknown victim. Dormant for over 30,000 years, it was last active at a time when mammoths and Neanderthals roamed the world. Its ancient genetic structure predates Homo sapiens, but its DNA has been severely degraded. Does it have what it takes to send humanity back to the Stone Age? Well, not when I'm at the helm, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. Get out of here, please. Alright, so with this particular setup, we're going to be sticking with the ATP boost, which I have really been enjoying a lot. I think you get more DNA overall from the metabolic jump, but the ATP boost does very rapidly accelerate your disease, heading that exponential curve a little bit faster. So I find this is more likely to lead to the 3 stars score that you're looking for on Mega Brutal. But if you're looking for just straight up more DNA, metabolic jump is still pretty good. I don't think I would go for the catalytic switch or anything like that. Darwinist, I think, is a must in this particular case, because this scenario costs a lot of DNA, especially once you factor in the genetic drift. So we're going to have to rely, hopefully, on mutation working to our advantage in the early game using Darwinist. I could go for Aquasite, and I think that'd be probably alright. In fact, yeah, I would say that that's probably preferable. And instead of Extremophile, I'm actually going to switch things over to Xerophile, giving our plague a bonus in the arid climates. And also, we're going to stick with a Pathostasis in this case, because there are a lot of abilities and resistances that are needed for this virus to be successful. The other alternative would be to go for the Transstasis. I think you can make a good argument for that. I think you even could make a good argument for the Symptostasis, but Pathostasis seems to me to be the most critical of the bunch. So we're going to try this new setup and see how that works out for me. And please don't let this be attempt number 14. Oh, and it's called the Pithovirus, by the way, in case you wanted to know. Welcome to the frozen virus scenario. You are an ancient virus that has been frozen for 30,000 years. Repair your damaged DNA to restore traits from your distant past. Oil drilling in the Siberian permafrost releases you. Highly resistant to cold, you will struggle to infect warmer climates. That's why we went for the Xerophile. Extremophile is really good in all climates for a very small amount, but Xerophile is far more effective just in the hot climates, which, to be honest, is where we are easily going to have the most trouble. So that's why I went for that. Okay, now starting with the transmissions, we have Amoeba 1. Amoeba susceptible to viral infection and spreads primarily through fresh water and salt water, increasing infectivity. We also have access to water, which is good in the clutch if we're having a really hard time getting to some islands, but ideally, if you're lucky, you don't need this. Ideally. But if you're having a really hard time, this could save your game. You don't know yet. More transmissions will be unlocked as we go. Symptoms, we start off with mandibular strain and drooling. And these basically both affect the brain and kind of, you become a slack-jawed idiot. And if you don't already know enough about this scenario, basically the goal is we are going to revert humanity back to Neanderthals. There's an ancient prehistoric disease that, existed during Neanderthalic times, so we're going to make Homo sapiens disappear and go back to being a bunch of cave-dwelling, rock-thumping, slack-jawed Neanderthals. That's the goal. And kind of like the Nurex worm, if you can get to that point, you don't need to kill anybody. As long as the world is infected and you can turn them into Neanderthals, that is a win. Alternatively, we go down a lethality route, heading through cysts and anemia. I don't think we're going to go down this route, honestly. I find that severity, if it gets too high, can really screw you over. So, for now, we're going to try to go down for Neanderthal. Now, as far as abilities, we start off with 3 levels of cold resistance. 30,000 years of surviving beneath layers of ice have completely solidified virus's lipid covering, ensuring survival at sub-zero temperatures. This means that we have no problems at all spreading through Russia, Scandinavia, Greenland, Canada, and so on. But the warm climates, that's going to be a problem. Now we also have DNA Repair Level 1, initial repair of low-level protein strands damaged during dormancy. Restore ancient symptoms and ability to stabilize in warmer environments. There are several levels to this, which is one of the reasons we grabbed the Pathostasis, because this is absolutely required. And each one of these functions as a gating mechanism. So as we grab, let's say, DNA Repair Level 1, we're going to find, oh look, more options in the symptoms tree. In fact, we can go ahead and pick up one of these right now in Dentalism, Severe gum infection causes teeth to fall out. Now that's a lot of severity, but it's also a ton of infectivity in the early game, which is why I'm grabbing it. We also see we have access to Amoeba 2. Virus manipulates amoebal DNA, allowing host amoeba to thrive in warm body parts of animals, increasing infectivity. And this will lead to several different forms of animal transmission, which we will use to our advantage. We also have unlocked a level of heat resistance, and as we continue to work down, we'll get drug resistance, more heat resistance, more symptoms, and more transmission options. All things we're going to need. Actually, I don't think we get any more transmission options. I stand corrected on that one. Fact check on that. I'm pretty sure we have all the access to all the transmissions we're going to get at this point. And we're going to focus very heavily on the transmission game early on. Let's grab Amoeba Level 2. You can see we now have access to birds, rats, livestock, insect, and Amoeba 3, which will unlock Level 2 of each of these respectively. So that's something we'll have to worry about. For now, we're going to go for rural. And the reason being, you want to have as much early transmission in your host country as possible, in this case Russia, which is cold, humid, and rural. Rural will also be quite useful as far as getting through Africa and other places like that. Now we'll go for a level of bird to give us some level of land transmission, and then we will go for insect. I just saw a pop-up about rural livestock regulations. We already have a level of livestock, so I'm hopeful we'll be okay. But we will get 2 levels of it eventually anyway. Festival of Love in Kazakhstan. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Let's go for Amoeba Level 3. Now, one of the problems with starting off in Russia and having terrible heat resistance is that Saudi Arabia ends up effectively being the gateway into the rest of Africa and down to Madagascar, and can seriously screw you over if you are not lucky. But this whole scenario is really about speed. We need to get around and get as much DNA going as possible, as quickly as possible, because the genetic drift is going to make everything ridiculously expensive, and we are going to get royally screwed over. I did go for a level of livestock level 2, so that we can get our rural transmission going much, much faster. Saudi Arabia, I'm a little bit concerned about. I am going to get a level of heat resistance right now, just kind of speed things up in Saudi Arabia. What little we can. Madagascar and the Caribbean are the ones that traditionally have been screwing me over a big time. Now we can get a level of bird transmission, level 2. We also could go for a level of insect, again, so insect level 2. And that might go out really well for us as well. How much does that cost? 25. Now, in order to beat this on Mega Brutal, I highly recommend knowing how many points you need for the next thing you want to evolve and spending them immediately. No time can really be wasted. This really requires a lot of luck as far as mutations, as far as the genetic drift. Now, this is all the transmission we're going to do for a little bit. Now we are going to focus on getting some new resistances. I'm going to start with DNA Repair Level 2. This unlocks Drug Resistance Level 1. Which we will need eventually. If we can go for DNA Repair Level 3 as well, though, this will unlock the next level of, well, slack-jawed, I guess, as opposed to drooling mental issues. This actually is a bit more severe and lethal, this top path, but it all adds up to Neanderthal here in the middle. But if we unlock this next level, then we could mutate this and save ourselves some DNA. At the same time, we also could get screwed over and get too much severity, and they close down their borders early, which has been happening to me a lot lately, so... yeah, I don't know. I've been really frustrated with this so far. And I don't think there's much I'm doing wrong. I think there's just a lot of luck involved. But alright, we're going to go ahead and grab DNA Repair Level 3 and another level Heat Resistance as quickly as we can. Again, just trying to stack that up in Saudi Arabia, wherever we can. South America, I want to get Mexico as infected as possible and Saudi Arabia as infected as possible. Both have a chance of getting a boat into the Caribbean and to Madagascar, respectively. I'm not saying that the Saudi Arabia can get into the Caribbean, that's not quite true, but you get what I mean. New Zealand also can be a bit of a problem if we're not careful too, so yeah, let's be careful about that. Alright, let's go ahead and grab DNA Repair Level 4. That unlocks Drug Resistance Level 2, which is starting to get progressively more expensive as time goes on. We did get Skin Lesions, which is very effective. DNA Repair Level 5 will lead to Heat Resistance Level 3, which we also will need. That costs 35 DNA. See how expensive things are getting right now. This is sort of the problem in the scenario, and by the way, they're curing us very fast. We're already up to 50%. It's ridiculous, I'm telling you. Now, this is special. This is ice resistance. Pathogen able to survive and spread in crystalline seawater when ice melts. Increases infectivity by sea and is harder to detect, reducing severity, increasing infectivity, giving us a much better chance to get onto a boat. And it's not super duper expensive, 24 points as opposed to the 35 before. So yeah, I'm hoping to use this to great effect before the Caribbean or Madagascar shuts down their ports, or New Zealand for that matter. And yes, those are in fact the 3 islands that I am currently missing, so that's a bit of a problem. Yeah, and in the meantime, as we're mutating, depending on if we get lucky or not, we're gonna get more severity that could kind of screw us over here. So I may want to go for a level of water transmission, but if they're already at 60% cure progress, I don't think I can afford it. So let's grab carnivorous denticulation, and I'm hoping that we evolve bone dysplasia fairly soon. We got into Madagascar, that's good. Can we please get into the New Zealand and into the Caribbean? I need those islands. Immaturity just mutated, that should slow down the cure a little bit. I'm holding on to points right now because I don't want to evolve some lethality that screws me over. But I think we have to go for water transmission to increase our odds. We got into the Caribbean. Can we please get into New Zealand? Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Really, really want to get in there right now. I'm going to go ahead and evolve full DNA repair. It only costs 7 points thanks to the pathostasis. And that will unlock the ability to get the Neanderthals. My only concern is 1, New Zealand, and 2, having enough DNA to actually get down there, which is a bit of a problem. So, please get a boat into New Zealand now. Please do it, please. If I go for the lethality, I'm afraid they're going to shut it down, but I don't think I have much choice. Alternatively, I go for water 2, but that's 40 DNA. Can't afford it. Gonna have to go for the bone dysplasia. Lethality will get me some more DNA. Please get a boat. Please get a boat. Yes! Yes! Okay. We're missing Morocco, but that's okay right now. We need to get up our DNA. We need cranial elephantitis for the lethality, and that will lead to the Neanderthals. They're at 90%. Okay, we got into Morocco. Please mutate. Mutate! For the love of God, mutate! Okay, hang on. I can't... Damn it. I can't afford... This is what I'm talking about, though. With the frozen virus, you need the mutation to work in your favor, and it didn't. We got into all the islands, and there's Neanderthal regression. So... We're still missing a few healthy people. I don't think we can reinfect them, though. Wow, actually, we mutated all the way up this path instead. I've actually never seen that happen. Huh. Well, technically, the cure's been set back. I don't think it matters. I'm pretty sure people have officially been cured, but... Sure would have been nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be nice if this game didn't hate me? Wait! There are no healthy people left in the world! We did manage to reinfect those people once I did that genetic reshuffle. I think we just won. But I don't know if I got 3 stars. I seriously doubt it. Pithovirus begins a new Neanderthal era. Every human on Earth has regressed physically and mentally to a Neanderthal state. Homo sapiens is no more. Well, that's pretty freaking awesome. So even though we got to 100% cure and they started fixing people, we managed to get the Neanderthal regression, which once they're all Neanderthals, they can't research anything, and by doing a genetic reshuffle and buying myself a teensy bit of time, we actually made it. Now, here's the thing, in order to beat this and get 3 stars, you need to have beaten it within 1 year. If you go beyond 365 days, you do not get 3 stars, period. So, what did I get? 2 stars. Because it took 397 days. At this point, I'm just gonna go with that, because 3 stars is really freaking difficult. Now, I think the overall strategy that I took will work for you just fine, but again, it requires 1, luck that the genetic drift doesn't screw you over, 2, luck to get into the islands before they close their ports, and they can close it down very early depending on how the mutation works, which leads me to number 3, mutation. You want to save on the Neanderthal regression. You want to save on the cranial elephantitis, on the bone dysplasia. These are things that cost a ton of DNA that you can't really afford. So really in the early game, it's all about going for that transmission as quickly as you can. You want to get, let's see, what order did we do things? First, we grabbed a level of the full DNA repair, then we went for one of those symptoms, but we went for amoeba, then we went for rural, then bird, then insect. Rural 2, bird 2, insect 2. We used water out of desperation because we weren't getting into some of the islands. Once we had all the transmission figured out so we could spread as quickly as possible, then we started rushing out our resistances as quickly as possible, starting with some heat resistance, then drug resistance, and kind of going back and forth as needed. Once all that was set, it was all about saving your DNA to go for the Neanderthal regression as quickly as possible. Had the mutation not screwed us up there, we might have actually been able to get this within 365 days. So I'm slightly miffed about that. But at the end of the day, we won, and considering how many attempts I've had to do on this so far, and I'm not kidding, over a dozen on Mega Brutal, I'm going to take it. I'm just going to work with it. We beat it on Mega Brutal. It was pretty good. And it was a pretty interesting twist getting cured and actually still winning, so there you go. Thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If so, then be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you guys have found a better strategy because I'd love to know. And I will see you guys next time.